Here is an example of how state students evaluate rescue horses at Equine Outreach for potential adopters. This is a 14-year-old Arab mare named Rasheeka. Rasheeka is a rescue horse. She came to Equine Outreach Horse Rescue because we were told that she reared when people held onto her mouth at all. We also heard that she required an experienced rider and tended to be quite hot and fractious. As you can see today, Rasheeka isn't hot at all. She's carrying a nice even rhythm on the lunge and is trotting with a relaxed top line, a low head, and an easy stride. This is the first time that I've worked with Rasheeka. She came to us in about June, so she's been here about 6 months. And through that time, we gave her, about 3 months off just to kind of go through detox. The first week that she was at the ranch, she just paced the fence line constantly and never relaxed, even though she was up right near all the activity and had plenty of food and horses on all sides of her. But she was so nervous that we worried quite a bit about her colicking and had to have her mostly on safe choice green as opposed to hay. So as you can see, she's really a different horse now. We began having someone work with her around the start of the school year, and a 9-year-old girl named Chloe with no previous horse experience became her partner. One of the first things that I remember from Chloe's first interaction with Rasheeka was that we had the hardest time finding a halter to fit her. She has this gorgeous, tiny, classic Arab head with a really refined dish to it. And we did eventually find a halter that fit her, but she just has such a lovely face. It was hard to put a standard webbing halter on her and have it not just look ridiculous and be non-functional. So, Chloe began working with Rasheeka on some basic skills like targeting. And we were using targeting to get Rasheeka to start participating with humans and understanding that her behavior actually had an impact on not only the activities that we were doing, but the way that she was handled as well. So, it took Rasheeka considerably longer than most horses to learn to target, and I feel that that is mostly because she, in all her dealings with people, she'd never really been allowed to think. And so, even though we continually showed her a target and offered her the opportunity to earn a reward simply by touching her nose to it, she never really put it together that this was something that she could do consistently to earn positive reinforcement. Arabs are incredibly smart, so it was really surprising that it would take Rasheeka this long to learn how to target, but I feel that it was just because of how she was handled in the past. Today she's an excellent clicker horse, but it took her quite a long time to get there. One of the interesting things that happened with Rasheeka is she went from being flighty and spooky to being a little bit pushy. And that's not that unusual. A lot of horses, when they become more confident in their environment, all of a sudden lose whatever perceived confidence they had in the handler, because they realize that the handler isn't as good of a leader as they thought they were. So when that happens, horses like Rasheeka can get a little bit pushy and they tend to invade your space. And before, while Rasheeka made herself kind of hard to touch, now she was just kind of right on top of Chloe all the time. So what we did about that was gave Chloe some more experience working with easier horses, and also started giving Rasheeka bigger jobs. Because if she just had something easy to do like targeting, she wasn't really engaged. But then we started asking a little bit more of her and being more specific. We taught her the flexions, so we worked on precision steering, and with the inclusion of clicker training in that, Rasheeka began to realize that lightness could actually be rewarded, whereas before she was always on the defensive and constantly tossing her head and just really uncomfortable with any kind of restraint or really any kind of contact from the handler. Now, as you can see just from watching me ride Rasheeka, she's actually completely comfortable with contact and also calm enough that she can be trusted to ride in a busy arena on a loose rein. Rasheeka has come such a long way from the horse that showed up here. She's put on weight. She doesn't have any more or less muscle tone than she had when she got here, mainly because she's not had any work, but I imagine that she would actually have a really lovely figure with some consistent work. So this is the first time that I've ever ridden Rasheeka and the first time that I've ever worked with her myself. I've supervised Chloe working with her and also supervised an adult volunteer named Cheryl working with her. But this is really our first one-on-one interaction. I'm really pleased so far with how Rasheeka wants to interact with me. She is very responsive, very cerebral, and is incredibly light. The contact that I have on the reins is no more weight than probably what a fly would be landing on her skin. This could be problematic for most riders, but it's something that I really appreciate in a horse, and I think something that sets an average horse apart from a horse with real potential. So Rasheeka could have quite a future as a dressage horse, but I also see how much she's enjoying just trotting slowly on a loose rein, and I think that she would enjoy continuing to have the relaxed lifestyle that she has now and just getting out and being a horse. I've noticed while I'm riding Rasheeka that she has pretty smooth gaits, very typical of an Arab, very elastic. She collects really easily. You just have to lift your hands a tiny bit and she's right up there lifting her pole and tucking her nose in. She's really good about carrying herself and not pulling at all. It's very easy to get her to change gaits, both upward and downward transitions. She's actually a really fun horse to ride. She's not leaning on me around the corners or trying to airplane in. She's very balanced, she's very rhythmic. It's actually quite remarkable that she is such an easy and fun horse to ride, given what was said about her when we first got her. I am riding her with two sets of reins. One set's attached to the halter and another is attached to a snaffle bit. And the reason that I did that was twofold. One, I always like to see how well a horse rides in a halter, because so many problems that we have with horses are because of the way the bit sits in their mouth. And two, I also needed to have the bit in her mouth just to see if it was really a big deal for her or not. Because if she did have severe enough problems with the bit that it was likely that she was going to rear when someone got on her, I needed to figure that out. But actually what I found is she seems perfectly normal and rides great off the halter or off the bit. Even here I had to push her just a tiny bit to get her to pick up the canter because she was so relaxed, and didn't have any trouble with her. She's just a nice, easy, no fuss kind of horse. I think that she'll make someone a really excellent partner.